Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna be playing with some makeup. I've got a bunch of new products that I hauled recently. Some of them I've already cracked into, a few of them I have not tried out before at all, so we're gonna be putting all of it on my face, creating this look together, and I will be sharing my thoughts along the way. If you guys are new here to my channel, my name is Lauren. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I've been trying to upload videos more regularly. I'm gonna try to shoot for Monday through Friday, every day, giving you some beauty goodness. So I hope you will consider subscribing, hanging out with me again in the future. But in the meantime, we've got a lot of makeup to talk about and to play with, so let's get into it. All right, so the first product that I'm gonna be using today is a new primer. This is from Wander Beauty. It was sent to me in PR. It is their Smooth Sailing Perfecting Primer. So this guy retails for $36. It comes with 1.05 fluid ounces. And it says it's an oil-free mattifying primer infused with gold flakes to minimize pores and blur imperfections for a silky base that helps makeup last all day. So this is the very first time I'm trying this guy out. It looks like a clear silicone type primer with gold flecks in it. And it does say it is real gold. It's supposed to apparently help natural collagen levels, skin elasticity, firmness, and blood circulation. So that's kind of cool. And also this formula is infused with vitamin C and vitamin E. So let's take a little bit of this puppy out. Very sparkly and pretty. Okay, feels super silicone-y, very similar to, you know, Smashbox Photo Finish. If maybe a little bit thicker. I feel like the Smashbox Photo Finish is very slippery on the skin. This does have a silicone-y slip to it, but it feels a bit more balmy, almost kind of like if Benefit Professional and Smashbox Photo Finish had a baby, it would be this. And there's also no noticeable scent in this, which is nice. So that definitely did feel very smoothing on the skin, kind of makes everything feel really silky and nice. So we'll see how foundation and concealer apply over this. Speaking of which, we're going to be going in with concealer first today because we are going to be using a powder foundation. So the concealer that I'm going to be using is this Maybelline Master Conceal. Now I just picked this up recently in a little shopping vlog that I did, and it's actually a repurchase. I had this a couple of years ago. I went through the whole tube and I really enjoyed it, or at least I remember really enjoying it. It was very full coverage, but it wasn't too thick. It spread out really nicely on the skin, and I love the fact that it's in a squeeze tube. It's a lot more hygienic than a concealer with a doe foot applicator. As easy as those are to apply, obviously bacteria from your face is going to get back into the tube, so this is something I feel like that's going to last a long time. It's easier to keep it sanitary. So I just really wanted to try it again. This retails for $8.99, so not crazy expensive. And I'm just curious to see, now that I've been trying so many new concealers, how this kind of old school formula compares. So I just put a little bit on my finger here, and I'm going to kind of rub it together and then pat it in my under eye area. I think I took way more than I needed. Yeah, this is one of those concealers that like a little goes a very, very long way. And honestly, like feeling the texture with my hands, I do think that the formula of this is kind of similar to like a Tarte Shape Tape style concealer in that it's not really thick and emollient, but it's got a lot of pigment, like you can really cover a lot with it. And it's definitely a more matte finish concealer, but I don't know, it doesn't look like particularly cakey and dry. Yeah, I think this is a nice concealer. It's blending into my skin like very, very easily. And I feel like my under eyes aren't looking super crepey or dry. I don't feel like it's really settling into my fine lines and creasing badly. So I'm liking the way that this looks formula-wise. The color is maybe just a tad dark for my under eyes right now. It didn't really brighten. I got the shade light medium, so this probably is better for covering on the face for me for now until I get a tan. Maybe once I'm a few foundation shades darker, it won't appear so dark on my under eyes. But like consistency and coverage wise, I do think the formula is nice. So for foundation today, we're going to be using this guy that I also recently picked up. This is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Shine Proof Powder. I got the shade 03 Natural Light, so hopefully it will match me. And the Milani website says this is a silky soft, lightweight formula, that it's blended with lily extract to tighten pores. Interesting. Bamboo powder to absorb excess oil, and it has a medium to buildable coverage. So this is what it looks like inside of the compact. It comes with a little sponge, but I'm going to use like a dense buffing brush to apply this today. And it seems like this is the kind of product you could use with a lighter, less dense brush to set down your makeup or to like touch up throughout the day, or you could build it up for more of a foundation-like finish, which is what we're gonna do today. So just feeling this guy to the touch, it's a very creamy powder. Like it definitely has that buttery feel. It's not chalky at all. So here's a little swatch. Coverage looks decent. Seems like it might be just a hair on the dry side, but we'll see what it looks like on the face. So I'm using a Japanese foundation brush to apply this. Just gonna pick up some of the powder and then just kind of buff it on in circular motions. Now, this is the kind of product that I would wear for like every day if I was just kind of around the house or running a few errands and I didn't want to go full glam. I really like a powder foundation because it's just so fast and easy to apply. Press a little bit of this onto the nose. This is definitely going on very matte. Obviously, it's a powder. All right, so looking at this up close in the mirror, definitely giving me more light coverage, light to medium. My skin looks more even, but I'm still seeing a lot of the imperfections through the powder. It's nowhere near as full coverage as like the Wanderlust powder foundation from Wander Beauty. That one I feel like can actually go on relatively full coverage, and it's very, very smoothing on the skin. It's beautiful. But this, I feel like it's looking kind of dry. I mean, my skin is oily and we'll give it a little bit of time. Usually once my natural oils kind of sink in, powder foundations look a bit better on me than they do right after I apply them. But right now I'm seeing like right here on my cheek, I have quite a bit of texture. Like it just looks enhanced. Right around my eyebrows, things are just looking slightly powdery, a little bit cakey. So if you have dry skin, you have any flakiness, I don't think I would use this powder as a foundation. Like I think it's just gonna accentuate too much of that dryness, too much of that texture. So yeah, first impressions, I mean, this is definitely not bad, but I'm not completely in love with the way that it's looking on my skin. Side note, if you hear any little funny noises or snoring, I'm puppy sitting today and Mia is out like a light in her little bed next to where I'm filming. It's very adorable, but you know, just as a heads up, that's what that sound is. Anyway, let's move on to bronzer. I've got another Milani product here. This is the Silky Matte Bronzing Powder. I picked up the shade Sunkissed 02, and this is supposed to be, according to Milani, an ultra smooth silky matte bronzing powder to create a buildable sun-kissed finish that blends seamlessly into skin without streaking or fading. And it also is supposed to have a long-wearing formula that you can use to both contour and bronze. So I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't resist busting into this guy when I first got it a few weeks ago because I had heard so many good things about this bronzer and I really, really wanted to try it. And it has not disappointed yet. I think this goes on beautifully. It blends out really, really nicely on the skin, which you're about to see. And I didn't notice this before, but I feel like this has a scent to it, like a very subtle scent. If you're kind of close to the pan, it smells a little bit beachy, a little bit sunscreeny. I don't know, maybe I'm insane. Maybe they're trying to get a little bit of that butter bronzer action up in here, but it smells a little bit like summertime. Now, obviously, this is the first time I'm applying this over this particular foundation. I've mostly been using this over liquid foundations and not a powder one. So I do feel like it's applying slightly differently, like it's a little bit less intense, probably because over like a liquid foundation, I feel like it has a little more to grab onto and intensify the color. But I think it's still looking nice. It definitely is very natural, very buildable, but this shade does definitely still show up on my skin. But like right around here, I'm noticing some patchiness, and I did not notice that when I've used this in the past, which I think must be because of the powder I have underneath this just kind of messing with the way this bronzer is laying down. That was where I was noticing things were looking really dry and textured with the powder to begin with, so maybe it's just kind of screwing with things. Well, here's another little test we can do. I don't have a new blush to use today, so I'm going to use my Alamar Cosmetics Blush Trio that I just got in my BoxyCharm. I did just use this on camera on Monday in my try-on unboxing video that I did, and this went on so beautifully. So if this goes on weird today, we know something funky is up with that foundation. So I'm going to go into the shade Paraiso, because that's the color that I used on Monday. Just going to gently buff this onto the cheeks. Such a pretty blush. I really am enjoying this formula. It blended out pretty nicely, but again, I feel like the patchiness that I'm seeing is really just normally where things would be smoothed out with foundation underneath, so that way, like, you know, blush and bronzer just goes on really seamlessly, and I'm just seeing kind of the spottiness of the coverage underneath. So that's a bummer, but you know, this is why we do Makeup Playtime. I'm the guinea pig, so you don't have to be. And I think we're about to double down, because I'm not really entirely sure how this highlighter is gonna go, but we're gonna put it on my face. So this is an Artist Couture Diamond Glow Powder in the shade Purple Dream. I put it in my everyday makeup drawer for May, hoping to actually get some use out of it. So I figured it might be a good time to try this on camera with you guys. So if you guys have never seen a Diamond Glow Powder before, they are loose powder highlights, and this formula is notoriously like very glittery. I had another one of these before years ago that I also got in BoxyCharm, and I decluttered it because I just never really wore it. It was the shade Illuminati, and it was just pretty much like straight up gold micro glitter on my face. So this shade Purple Dream is kind of interesting. It's got a duochrome finish that's kind of like a pinky purple, and it does have sort of little gold micro shimmery flecks in it. So this may look kind of crazy on my skin. I'm not really so sure about it, but you know what? We'll try it out and just see. So I'm going in with one of these little Moda highlight and glow brushes. I'm gonna tap off the excess. Okay, I feel like this is coming off way more pinky purple than I thought. Oh God, okay, too much. Flip that brush over and blend this out a little bit. Whoo, man. Yeah, when they say Purple Dream, that is like straight up purple on my face. And when I'm like staring head on in a mirror, you can't really see it, but then when you turn, you really get that like, boom, purple in your face glow. I also feel like I'm inhaling a cloud of highlight. It's kind of hard to not almost pick up too much product on the brush because it's a loose powder. Like normally with a loose powder, I try to really work it into the brush. I feel like I just put way too much product here in the cap to do that, but it's also kind of hard to tap out less than that. Yeah, I'm making all kinds of a mess here. Oh dear. All right, so it's definitely an interesting highlight. Very strong purple. Gives a certain kind of vibe that's probably not what I would wear for like an everyday kind of makeup look. This is the kind of thing that I feel like I would reserve for Instagram. And honestly, I feel like on camera, I don't even know if it's gonna pick up as much as it is in real life. Like in real life, I'm wearing this kind of like mauve-y pink sweatshirt, and my highlight looks like the same color as my sweatshirt in the mirror in front of me. And like up close, you definitely are still seeing the micro sparkle, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like it doesn't look like I put a shimmery eyeshadow all over my face or something, but you definitely are seeing the distinct little bits of sparkle. So yeah, I don't think it looks terrible or anything like that. It's just not necessarily my speed. I can't say that this is like my favorite highlight formula. I don't feel inclined to go out and buy more of these, especially considering that one jar is $27. I think I would much prefer that I stick to my normal pressed powder highlights, and I also have several that are quite a bit less expensive that perform even more beautifully on the skin. Like part of this is the color, because it's so purple, it's just not natural looking to me, but I also just don't really love the mess, and I don't really love the like micro shimmer, so I have a pretty strong feeling I will probably ultimately be passing this guy along. Okie dokie, so since I obviously am going purpley pink today, I thought for the eyes I might reach for my Nabla Soul Blooming palette. This one is full of really beautiful pink and purpley tones and neutrals. It's very springtime appropriate. And then I also wanted to give this guy another whirl. This is the Profusion Metallics palette. I used this on camera in a dedicated review not that long ago. I will link it for you guys up here in the little eye if you want to check it out. But we've got like plenty of pinky tones here to play with, so I'll probably use one of these metallic shades all over the lid. And since you guys have heard me talk about this on my channel a bunch of times before, it's not new to my collection, I'm just gonna kind of show you quick the look I'm putting together. I'll give you a little recap of what I ended up doing at the end. Okay, so just to quickly recap what I've done so far, I used this shade here called Gia, all in my crease. Then I put the shade Bolero down on the outer and inner corner of my eyes and layered over a little bit of the shade Caravaggio. Kind of went back and forth, blending those two together just to kind of start creating like a halo shape on my eyes. And I also used a little bit of the shade Chamomile on my brow bone just to soften off that transition. So now I'm going to take a little eye shading brush and I'm going to go into the shade Dizzy in this Metallics palette. I'm going to pick up a bunch on my brush and I'm going to try wetting this with some MAC Fix Plus because I did not do that the last time I used this palette on camera. And we'll put this right in the center. Yeah, I feel like with some Fix Plus, these really pop. They have some intense shine. That's super pretty. All right, so here is where we're at. I just popped a little bit of the shade Philosophy in the inner corner just to kind of brighten that up a little bit and smudged kind of what was residually left over on my brush on my lower lash line. So got a really cool kind of smoky halo thing going on right now. So to finish off the eyes, I've got yet another kind of old school favorite that I wanted to test out again. This is the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara. This was my favorite mascara for so many years. I repurchased many tubes of this, but it's been a hot minute since I used it, so I picked up a fresh one back in my shopping vlog that you guys saw. So I am pretty excited to put it to the test yet again. So I just gave my lashes a quick curl, and let's go in and see what this looks like. Okay, so right off the bat, what I'm noticing is that this is giving me a lot of length, and it definitely is making the lashes look a little bit fuller, but it's not quite as thickening as, let's say, like the L'Oreal Lash Paradise, which has been my go-to drugstore mascara as of late. And I feel like I thought of this guy as being a very volumizing mascara, and I guess it's just one of those things that it's all relative, right? So maybe this was very volumizing at the time for what I was used to using, but like compared to things I've tried since then, definitely not as much, but certainly not bad. Definitely not a bad look at all. I actually am really liking this on the lower lashes. I feel like the curvature of this wand makes it really easy to like get all those little lashes. All right, so here what the eyes are looking like. I definitely am going to have to wear test this guy to make sure it doesn't flake, smudge, do anything weird, but first impressions, I mean, it's nice. I don't know if I could say that this would still be my favorite mascara just based on the way my lashes are looking right now, but it's good. It's decent. Definitely not bad at all. All right, and then to finish off today's look, I've got these new liquid lipstick gloss type situations from Wet n Wild. This is the Mega Last Liquid Catsuit High Shine Lipstick. I picked up 2 shades of this to try out. I have Peach Stole My Look, and I also have the shade Send Nudes. So if I remember correctly, this is supposed to be like a high pigment lip gloss type situation, or it's supposed to be like the gloss version of their liquid catsuit liquid lipsticks. So I'm just gonna start swatching these so we can decide what color we're gonna use. It's not going on actually super pigmented. It's going on pretty sheer, and I feel like the texture on this is a little on the gloopy side. I don't know how I feel. This one maybe a little bit smoother. Can be kind of layered up. I mean, the shine is really nice, but it definitely looks like you have to kind of put on a thick layer of the product to get like full opacity on the lips. I feel like because this eye is definitely a bit more colorful, maybe we're better off going with the nude shade. All right, here we go, guys. Ooh, that does not smell good at all. Yeah, that's like straight up chemicals on your lips. No bueno. All right, so here's what we're looking like with the lip gloss applied. I feel like this shade is kind of concealer lips on me. Like I feel like my lips just kind of disappeared into my face, which I am not loving. The texture is nice. It's not sticky at all. It has a good glide to it. It feels really creamy, but I feel like color-wise, it's almost opaque, but not completely. It ended up going on with more color than I thought that I did when I was just swatching them on my hand, but I feel like it's just ever so slightly patchy. This probably would look better if I put something on underneath it. All right, so take two. I'm gonna take this off and we'll put a different lip color on underneath, and then we'll just like layer this guy on top. I'm just gonna use this Too Faced Natural Nudes lipstick in the shade Pout About It, which is kind of a nice rosy nude. Also, this smells like coconuts, which is delicious. And then I'll just go in with a little bit of this guy on top. All right, so first impressions of this formula. I like that it's not sticky. I like how creamy that it feels, but I do not like the smell and taste. It's very chemically, which I'm not a big fan of. And I feel like it's kind of a weird in-between pigmentation-wise, where it's definitely not trying to be a sheer gloss, but it's not fully opaque with color either. So like you can kind of get away with wearing this by itself, but I guarantee you, I feel like if you were wearing a darker shade of this, it probably would go on patchy unless the formula of the deeper shades is different. So yeah, considering that I've been really into gloss lately and experimenting with a lot of different glosses, and I have several that I really, really like, I don't think this is a new favorite. I feel like for the price point, which is under $6, they're not the worst glosses I've ever put on my lips. I don't like gloss that's really gloopy, stringy, sticky. That would be a no-go, so I appreciate that these have more of a creamy texture. Honestly, I think I would just like them more if they smelled nice and tasted better. Like, I feel like that adds so much to the experience of putting on a gloss. All right, guys, so that was everything that I wanted to test out today. Let's do a little quick recap of all the makeup that I used. All right, so first up we had the Wander Beauty Smooth Sailing Perfecting Primer. So this definitely went on feeling really nice. It was very blurring on the skin. It's a very silicone-y primer, so it did kind of fill in pores, smooth everything out. Obviously, I'm going to have to use it for a while to see if I notice any of the skincare-esque ingredients that are in here, if I notice any benefits to my skin, if it breaks me out, if it actually helps my makeup to wear longer. I'm going to want to test this, I feel like, with some tried and true foundations like my Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion, because I know how that foundation wears on me. So I will definitely keep you guys posted in the update to this video how this works out long term. Then next we had the Milani Conceal and Perfect Shine Proof Powder, which I don't really like this as a powder foundation. I felt like it was way too dry on the skin. It enhanced texture. It doesn't provide a whole lot of coverage. It just kind of evened things out a little bit. I feel like it would be much better used as like a touch-up powder, or maybe to lightly set all over the face. So I'm going to try this again using it in that context, but I don't think I like wearing it all by itself. Then we have the Maybelline Master Conceal Camouflaging Concealer. This I think is really nice. It provides decent coverage, but it's not too thick of a consistency. It's a very pigmented but kind of more liquidy concealer that spreads out really nicely. It can cover a lot of area, and I love the squeeze tube packaging, so this is something I definitely am going to continue to use. Then we have the Milani Silky Matte Bronzing Powder. This I think is such a beautiful product, and I honestly don't feel like it got the chance to really shine today, because I think that this powder kind of just made things lay a little bit weird on my skin, so it went on just like a little bit patchy, and it was not as intense as it has been the other times that I've worn this. So I know when I've worn this with like my Face Tape foundation, it's looked really beautiful. It blended out really nicely. So I would definitely say if you're curious about this and interested in trying it, I do really like it. I think it's a beautiful bronzer, and it's only like around $10, so you can't beat the price. And I will definitely be continuing to use this. Then there is the Artist Couture Diamond Glow Powder in the shade Purple Dream. I definitely don't think this is my personal cup of tea. I think it's a pretty product. I mean, it's definitely giving an interesting effect to the skin. This particular shade has a very strong purple shift to it, which is just not my usual go-to for highlight. I'm much more of a gold champagne, more natural highlight kind of girl. I don't really love the whole loose highlight format because I feel like it's much harder to control exactly how much product you're using. It's messier, and this particular formula does have kind of micro shimmer in it, so it's got more of a glittery effect. And I do, of course, think that there are people out there that will really enjoy this formula, especially people that want to do more full glam or artistic looks. This particular shade, I think, would be very like Instagrammable because it has such an interesting reflect to it. That's just honestly not how I normally wear my makeup day to day. So I ultimately will probably end up decluttering this just because I know I'm not gonna reach for it over the other bazillion highlighters that I already have. But I do think it was fun to test out. Then we have the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara. Now, I do think this is good. Is it my #1 mascara at this point in my life? No, not necessarily, but I do think it gave my lashes some length, it gave them some volume. I think for a person that wants a slightly less in-your-face, clumpy kind of look, you might actually really like this, or like this more than something like the L'Oreal Lash Paradise, which does definitely have more of a clumpy vibe. I think the brush on this was really easy to use. I really liked it on my lower lashes because it's so curved, like it helps you get every little lash without accidentally like poking yourself in the eye. But of course, I am going to need to wear test this because if it flakes or it smudges or does anything weird, that's definitely going to knock it down a few pegs. I don't remember it doing any of those things. That was one of the reasons why I liked this formula. I found it to be like really bulletproof. It lasted very, very well, and it didn't flake off or irritate my eyes, but we shall see if that's still the case. And then finally we have these liquid Catsuit high shine lipsticks from Wet n Wild. I'm feeling kind of meh about this formula right now. There are things about it I like a lot. There are also things I don't like about it as much. I would definitely call these lip glosses, not liquid lipsticks or like a lip lacquer. You can definitely build the pigmentation up on these, but they are not the most pigmented lip gloss type product I've tried. I definitely think these, especially these lighter shades, are going to look the best when layered over a lip liner or a lipstick like I did today. But maybe the darker colors are better. I don't know, since I only have these two, I cannot speak to that. Texture-wise though, I do really appreciate that they're creamy, they're not sticky at all, the shine is really nice. So like if all you want is a semi-pigmented, shiny product to wear on your lips, I mean, these are very, very affordable. I just wish they tasted better and smelled better. That also kind of bugs me. That's honestly one of my favorite things about applying a lip gloss. There's just something nice about applying something that is tasty to your lips and has kind of like a sweet scent or a minty scent or something like that. But putting something on your lips that smells like chemicals is not so good. At the very least, just have it have no scent at all. But this, whatever ingredients are in here, obviously it's a cheaper formula. They just are very kind of nasty smelling, so didn't like that. And on that note, I think that about wraps things up. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed seeing all these products in action and hearing my initial thoughts on them. If you've also tried any of these products out, definitely leave a comment and let me know what your experience with them has been. Did you have the same issues I did? Do you love them as much as me? Do you feel completely the opposite? Give me all the details. And of course, make sure you stay tuned to my Makeup Playtime update. I always let you guys know a month after I film these videos how these products worked out once I tested and tried them out for a longer period of time. So, you know, if you're not subscribed, maybe you want to click that button so you don't miss that video and all the other cool stuff that I have going on my channel. But yeah, I think that is it from me today. I'm gonna go take a sleepy puppy for a walk because I think it's about time that she gets some fresh air and exercise. Also, I could probably use some fresh air and exercise, but I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.